Good. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order at 6:30. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start with roll call. Bobby, why don't you start us off?
Robert Carr.
Sue Connick, Nicole Living McGrath,
Vinnie Kennedale.
Mike Kusa.
Aaron Delfino, Stacy Randolph Gendron.
Hey, do we have any amendments to the agenda? Hearing none.
Motion to approve the March 24th Special Board of Education meeting minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Motion to approve the March 24th regular Board of Education minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Motion to approve the March 26th special meeting minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor who attended this meeting?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Motion to approve the second March 26th Board of Education meeting minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor
Aye.
that were attending?
That was,
There's two of them.
okay.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Motion to approve April 7th workshop Board of Education meeting.
Do we have a second? Discussion?
Yes, in the school calendar paragraph, the last sentence, it says Molly, Karen, Susan, is a middle school promotion ceremony still needed now that Oxford has its own high school? I didn't say that. Molly said it, and then I think I responded something to it, but I didn't want it to look like I said that we didn't need a middle school ceremony.
How would you like it?
Oh, just, you know, if he wanted to say there's a conversation or whatever, or you just take my name off completely, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. Molly said it.
Want to take your name off?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Well, it's part of the concussion.
We can either withdraw it and then do it again, or we can do it as corrected.
I'd say do it as correctly.
So I'll make the motion to correct the minutes of April 7th.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Me.
Motion carries. Okay, audience of citizens. Have anyone who'd like to speak? Once, twice. Board correspondence.
Nothing.
We're moving real fast. Okay, presentation for middle school.
Higgins. Roll. Hi, everybody. I have some wonderful students here today to present to you from our PIP class, which we're excited to have officially into our course catalog next year. We've been piloting it. It's called Personal Interest Project, and it allows students to they do a discovery phase, a create phase, and then ultimately a share phase. You were invited to our PIP showcase back in, I think it was January, for the first cohort, and now we have the second cohort. So this is a combination of both of the cohorts. So some students have already finished their projects, others are already through it. So I'm not going to talk too much tonight. You'd rather hear from them, but we are rolling through the end of the year. We started our state testing today. went for our walk, had our snack, which was well received by our students, so, we'll continue with that for the next couple of weeks, and then we're in the home stretch here, so without further ado, Leo? You are first. And Mr. Goffel. Oh. That's the question. Oh, there we go. So the next one. Oh,
On the bottom.
there we go.
Hello, my name is Leo Tillman and my project in PIP was a vending machine. I picked a vending machine because when I grow up, I want to study mechanical engineering and I have an inspiration to be a good coder. So I thought this would be a good way to mix my coding and my building skills together. Here's a photo of the finished project. You can see all the wires and stuff. I made that intentional. And with this product, I wanted to make a vending machine that would work. Basically, my project was just a functioning vending machine. The first thing I did with this project was basically research it. That's the number one thing you gotta do when you're going with projects like this. So I found diagrams and guides on how to learn the code I was using, which was Arduino, which is a very helpful source for beginners. And I used this diagram and tutorial to create the code and make it fully functioning. And then finally, I put it all into a cardboard box and assembled that to make it look like a vending machine. The hardest problem in my journey of making a vending machine was actually the diagram. Simply because it was very confusing, it was very simplified, so it's hard to see where each thing went. So if I could change anything, I would probably research even more and find a better diagram. And here is a snapshot of me soldering electronic component. Some new skills I learned from this project were coding in Arduino and connecting electronic components together. One thing I was surprised about, however, was when I was actually like putting all the wires and stuff into each like panel, I learned that there's not just a power, but also a ground that you need to do. And my favorite moment is when I finally got the code to work and make the actual like main part of the vending machine work, because it took me 20 plus hours of failed attempts to get it working. I spent 30 hours on this like total. And here's a snapshot of me working on it, like the finished product.
Not working.
Yeah, it's not working. As you can see, the vending machine dispensed all my items in the video, even though it was in bad quality. But I like to thank Ms. Stack for giving me my opportunity to present this and actually to be in PIP, and I hope this Board of Education goes well.
Hi, my name is Katarina Eads, and my PIP project is creating cookies that I believe that are creative. I picked this project because I love to bake things, and I also like to give people things because that's who I am as a person. I also really wanted to learn about the different ingredients and like how I could substitute them for other types of ingredients to make my baking life easier. And I try to pick cookies that I can make that are creative and original. And this is a picture of me baking cookies, but the first time I did it with an electric mixer, so I usually bake them by hand. And I set out to learn about the different types of ingredients and substitutes for them. I also want to make a variety of cookies that progressively get harder as they go on, to show my progress. My final project is going to be a recipe book with all the types of cookies I've made in it, and I'm also going to include like tips, my about me, and my inspiration. So firstly, I had to research a bunch of stuff about recipes, look at the reviews to make sure I could trust it and make sure I had all the ingredients. And if I didn't, I had to go purchase all the ingredients and then actually make the cookie for that week. That was fun. My third step was then putting all of my cookies I baked into a recipe book, which includes all the pictures, the tips, inspiration, and about me. Hardest part of this project was like actually picking recipes that were unique and creative. At the beginning of the project, it was pretty easy. I didn't have much trouble because there was like a bunch of recipes. But when I got like to the end of our project, I kind of like ran into trouble because I didn't think some recipes were creative enough or I just didn't know what to do. So I asked my classmates for help and asked them what type of cookies they wanted, and this helped me overcome this challenge. Here are just some of the cookies I've made. I have more, like my favorite one's not on there, but I forgot to take a picture of it, so I didn't have it. And I know Miranda over there, her favorite one is this one right here. It was raspberry. First skill I mastered was learning about certain ingredients, like how brown sugar can make cookies chewy and how melted butter makes them flatter and chewier. Second skill I mastered was measuring. After baking all of these cookies, I learned that you have to be very precise with your measuring, or some things can go wrong. Some surprises that I did not expect was if you don't cut the parchment paper to fit the pan exactly, it can burn. Also, if the dough is stiff, it means it was overmixed. Yeah. And another surprise was how if the cookies came out flat, the butter was too hot. And lastly, I was surprised with how much I learned from this project. For this project, I was not that good at baking, and I didn't really bake that much because it didn't interest me as much. But now I love baking, and I'm like able to bake my cookies from scratch instead of a box. And my favorite moment of this project was getting good feedback from my classmates. It really made my day and made me happy to hear all the nice things about my cookies. And here's another one of the cookies. This was a popular one. It was like a cookie dough cup, and they were edible cookie doughs. I'd heat treat the flour so it's edible, and nice eggs, so it's edible. And I thought this was like pretty creative, and it was a favorite by the class. That's it.
Hi everybody, my name is Evan Iverson, and my project was Jimmy's Adventures, crazy animation. So over the years, I've really liked animation, like Dog Man and comic books, all that fun stuff. So I decided I'd make my own. Originally my goal was to make a 3 to 4 minute presentation, but you'll see later how that didn't go. So my final product was a 1 minute and 30-second animation about Jimmy, a crazy and chaotic character that fools around and does some crazy stuff. At the start of my PIP, I had to research different animation softwares like Flipperkit or Adobe, and to create my overall character design and my animation. Step 2, in my animation, I created base frames. Say if I jumped, it would capture split milliseconds in each of my actions of my jump. And I would draw those actions, and then later on I would fill in the actions in between to make it look smooth and realistic. And then in my final step, I made it more realistic and added the background information. The down button. So one challenge for me was that a 3 to 4 animation would take way too long. I realized that after a little bit, so I had to adjust my time and my framework. And this is a picture of my character Jimmy with the magic wand. Some new skills that I learned is time management and animation, obviously. I had to learn how to draw my characters, make them look realistic, so I went through a lot of tutorials and stuff to do that. One surprise is that drawing with my finger, it was really hard at the start, so I had to get an Apple Pen to fix it. And my favorite moment was that I could be creative, I could draw whatever I want. I was able to draw like a plane falling into a black hole, or a dancing robot, or whatever I wanted. Thank you for your time. Have a great day. Hi, my name's Miranda and this is my Pip Crochet Patterns. I was inspired to do this project because I have been crocheting for a bit of time now and I want to try to do something even more creative than just crochet. I want to try making my own patterns. Here's me actually crocheting the coasters that I made for all of you. And my goal for this project is to make a book of all of my own crochet patterns that I can be like proud of and call my own. My project is a book of all my own crochet patterns. This book is going to contain at least 7. I'm still working on a few and finalizing some of the patterns I created, explained in great detail so even beginners can be able to follow. That was really important to me to make sure everyone could follow and understand because I hate seeing a pattern, not being able to read it myself. Okay, the journey. Originally, the book was going to have to be 2 of my own patterns, but the rest was going to be patterns from other creators that I loved. However, I thought this was boring, so I decided to make all my own patterns for this book. For the first step was to decide what I wanted to crochet and make my own. So I had to go through and figure out what I actually wanted to do for my project. The second step was actually making the creations and testing different patterns, stitches, and styles. There's so many different stitches in crochet and like shapes and styles for each like pattern. So I tested a bunch of those. Step 3 is perfecting the patterns and then making them ready for the book. And finally, step 4 is actually making the book. Challenge. The hardest part of this project so far has been actually making the patterns. It makes it simple, but I had to take all my past knowledge and put it together to make something that I didn't even use like a book to do. And it's like I've had to run so many test runs just to make sure the size, the style, the shape, and the stitches were all perfect. And here's some things I've made so far, and a lot of them are actually going in the book. Here are the coasters that all of you have. I made a bumblebee. This is my progress for one of the strawberries I made. Some different flowers, drawstring bags, and like a pouch. New skills. I learned how to use all my past knowledge from crocheting to make my own patterns. I also learned how to make new stitches and how to do a coaster so the sides do not fold up. Surprises. Something that surprised me while working on this was how much I learned while doing this. Not only did I learn new stitches, how to not make the coaster sides fold up, and like how to make the shape of something perfect, but also like the whole Pip class, I learned how to manage my time better because you have such a short amount of time to be able to do this project. You want to make sure you get everything done. And I also learned how to create a successful pitch and that you have to be patient and practice to get the outcomes you want. The most fun part of the process for me was getting to see everyone's reactions to what I made. Like I would bring it in and show my ELA teacher, my friends, and they would all love seeing it. And then here is the strawberry. So this is the first one I made. This is the second one. I decided to try to do more seeds, but this was too much. So this led me to my third one, which was a lot better than this one. I didn't even finish this one because it wasn't my favorite. And yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Sam Ditko, and my project was a stop motion animation like Evans, but it was a bit different. So I picked this project because I'm a kind of a dinosaur fanatic. I also love Legos, and I was inspired by stop motions that I saw on YouTube. So I set out to make a 5-minute Lego stop motion about the movie Jurassic World because that was one of my favorite ones. And I also wanted to teach more people about the art of stop motion and try to inspire them to do it themselves. So my final product was an 8-minute and 49-second animation with all the exciting and terrifying events from the movie it was based off of. I had already done one stop motion before as like an ELA project, so I was okay at doing this. And I used Stop Motion Studio to edit the frames because that's what I used before. I watched videos on YouTube about techniques to make my animation smoother, like moving them in smaller increments. And then as I was filming, I've seen Jurassic World over 10 times, probably something around there. So most of my planning was in my head, but I also built off my initial thoughts as I went along. And then once all the pictures were taken on my GoPro camera, I imported them onto my computer and then put them into Stop Motion Studio where I could then add more frames, edit them, add sound effects and backgrounds. The hardest part of this project was time management because taking 3,100 pictures while changing sets and having 50 minutes every other day, it was a bit too difficult to do that. So I made the frames from 10 to 7, the frames per second, and I brought them home and worked on them every day. So this isn't my actual project, but it's just one that I made as an example of Lego stop motion. Yeah. So it's like every small movement contributes, and once they're all in, it makes a movie. New skills I learned were inputting sound effects in the right spots and learning how to animate more smoothly. Surprises, one surprise I had was finding out that there was something called desyncing, which made some of my audio out of place when I finally made it, but it didn't really get noticed, so I didn't mind it as much. The most fun part of the process was definitely seeing the finished product and knowing that taking all those pictures paid off. And that's my favorite scene from the stop motion that I made.
So thank you. Hopefully that gives you a little glimpse into what they did this class and curriculum really supports our attributes of the graduate. I'm sure you've heard some things about time management and all of them, critical thinking, communication, peer-to-peer feedback, all those little parts outside of their project topic that all of our students are able to experience and build upon throughout the semester. So we thank you for sharing your hard work. We are missing one who unfortunately wasn't able to make it until Zach was going to share too. She had a cookbook that she was translating from Polish to American and updating it and all the things. So, but we thank you guys very much for your time. You're welcome to stay, but Sam just came from his baseball game, so busy after school activities. So thank you very much, everybody, and thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the action items.
I'll make a motion to approve the certified personnel updates.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Before moving on, I just want to call out a retirement from a teacher, Lisa Nicholas. I believe over 40 years of teaching. It's a great accomplishment. She's done wonderful work in the Oxford school system for decades, apparently, decades.
She's been in the Oxford Public Schools for 38 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So just, I don't know if she's here tonight. I don't see her here tonight, but if she is hearing this, congratulations. We hope you have a fantastic retirement. And thank you for your service to Oxford.
Make a motion to approve the class trip to Italy in 2027.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Jealous? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. They have a good time.
Motion to approve the 25-26 school calendar as presented.
Do we have a second? Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Do we need to set graduation date, or is the calendar enough?
The graduation date is included on the calendar.
So it's gonna.
Yeah. Mhm. It is officially set once the motion.
Okay, just wanted to show that we've done it differently.
Nicole, would you like to?
Sure. So in today's agenda, we have two policies for second read. We also have one down to remove from our books. So the first one on the agenda is bylaw 9132.5, which is the policy where we combine, the bylaw where we combined the curriculum committee with the business committee. And we created a template that outlines for us with the purpose, the responsibilities, the membership, the meetings, and the authorities and limitations, regarding the policy. Does anybody have any questions regarding this bylaw? All right, so then I make a motion that we approve it as written.
Any second?
Okay.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Okay, so now that we've recognized this new bylaw, we can take the old one off the books. There's no reason to have a separate, business committee bylaw since it's incorporated into this one. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we remove that bylaw from the books.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Okay, and then the last policy, agenda item we have has to do with meal charging. This is not a new policy. We've had it on the books before. We've made a couple small changes. And just by way of some background, our kids, when they order their lunches, they do it through the My School Bucks program. If there's ever a situation where there's not enough money on the child's account, they still get lunch. And under no circumstances are we going to shame the child or to engage in collection efforts to the child. If there's an issue with an outstanding balance, we'll take it up with the parents and with the guardians. And we've taken a few things off here. Before we had the ability to not provide them their report cards. We're not gonna do that anymore. So, the idea is everybody gets a lunch, nobody gets shamed, and if there's an issue with payment, we're gonna work with the family to make sure they get what they need. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so then I would like to make a motion that we approve this, policy as written.
Do we have a second?
Second this one.
All those in, our discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay, reporting superintendent.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. First, Ellen, thank you for hosting us. The students were absolutely phenomenal, so that was wonderful. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend the Val-Sal recognition at the high school. And it was just a wonderful ceremony put together by Heather and the staff up there, where we recognized valedictorian Trent Thurhout and salutatorian Sarah Benskowski. It was just nice. The parents came in, we surprised them, take photos, pictures, and it was just really, really nice. So I appreciate all the effort putting in to make it special for our two students there. Also, we are putting together, and it's kind of progressing nicely, our two summer programs, our ESY and our summer enrichment program. Two programs that are popular here in Oxford, so glad that we're moving in the right direction there. I had the opportunity to attend PTO and Booster this month, and really impressed with the amount of end of the year activities that both the organizations sponsor and amount of time our parent volunteers put into the end of the year special for our students, P12. So I just wanted to kind of acknowledge them for everything they're doing. Today, we sent out an update on Quaker. We had another round of air quality testing yesterday. And also in that letter included an update on progress by AirTemp. So we added more details about that. And in regards to that as well, the fire panel project was completed at Quaker over spring break, as well as the speaker project. So now we can use the speakers on the outside of Quaker when, there's an emergency or something like that. We can speak to everyone outside as well as goes. So all of our schools now have outdoor speakers that work. So we're very excited about that. And I sent out a letter on Friday, update our community on things that are happening in our schools, but also remind the community about our upcoming town meeting on Monday, May 4th, as well as our town referendum on May 14th. So there's a lot happening on that front, as well as, as we plan for next year. So lots happening. As those that have been around schools, April, May, and June is like wild. There's a lot happening. It's picking up speed real quick. So that's my report.
Reporting assistant superintendent.
So just to close out a couple of things that we've been talking about this year, I'm bringing the principals back together at the end of this week for another regroup on the school climate plan. To talk about, their interaction with their school climate committees as a building, the progress they've made towards their goals, and what the outlook towards next year will look like. Speaking of that, the other biggest thing going on right now is that everybody, I think, is aware, legislative session is open right now and closes on May 6th. Which means that there's a lot of buzz right now about new legislation coming to this, that would potentially impact the schools. I've already given Nicole a heads up on a couple of things. So we're watching some things really closely in terms of what might come down the pike. We're anticipating some votes specifically around that cell phone legislation next week. So those are sort of top of mind for me right now. That's what I've been trying to keep as up to date with. We do get, it's not even daily, it's multiple emails a day of updates of how the amendments are going through and changing. So I'll keep you guys updated on that as we get into next week when the legislative session closes on May 6th.
Mike, can I ask a question?
Deb and Deb.
I just wanted the, pending legislation to change, the step grades out. Teachers are paid if there's an assault, which has been, today especially, has been populated and discussed a lot. So
Yes,
there's testimony on that specific topic.
yes, there are significant changes that's rolled into some of the workers' compensation legislation. That's another big one that is coming. There's also some changes around teacher tenure law. So there's a few things that are going to be impacting schools.
Which could be a financial impact for us.
Yes.
So I have a question about the supplement thing. Medical stuff with their, done with supplements, like Claire has her, I can see what her blood sugar is on my phone. And it has to be transferred through her phone and through her desktop.
That will still be fine. So the way that the latest update is written is that, students with any sort of technological device that is guided through their IEP or 504 plan is allowed. And then there's also a stipulation for if there's a medical recommendation by a treating physician for a student that requires a
Yeah, I'm sure she's not the only one.
or electronic device. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's been so many advances in, especially for some of our students, with diabetes and things like those, to track their medical needs throughout the day. That's not being removed as a part of this legislation. It will direct boards of education to develop local policies, and that's what we'll have to talk about over the course of next year. That'll go into effect July 1st, 2027.
Thank
Mhm.
Okay. Report of the chair. So Ellen, thank you. That was an excellent presentation. I always enjoy seeing the students and that was impressive. Just as we're wrapping up towards the end of the budget season, I just want to thank everyone's efforts as we put together a strong budget. We've presented it, we've defended it. We've been to many meetings. For the new board members, we have one more town meeting coming up. For those that don't know the exact process, in that meeting, the way it goes is there's 3 line items that are discussed. The town budget, Board of Ed budget, and then the roads project. During the next town meeting, it's the second town meeting for the budget. Only budgets, you can make motions to remove money, or you can make a motion to, what's the term, end the question, move to question, and then basically it shuts it down at that point. So parents come, we encourage all community members, for or against, just to come, speak their mind, represent their interests in that meeting. We're not supposed to advocate formally, but as our board attorney recommended or put in, until the referendum date is set, it's not as firm on the details in that aspect. I know there's some individuals on social media that have concerns. We welcome concerns. We have a budget book over 100 pages long of details because one, we take it very seriously. We have concerns and we want to make sure that our money is spent well. We've had, as the finance subcommittee members can attest to, we've had countless meetings going over page by page, asking questions, and the budget book just grew over time because we ask questions and then there's information and then Dr. Mullen has to go and research more. So we put a lot of time and effort in that. And so when parents ask questions, committee members ask questions, that's not a bad thing. It's, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Everyone gets a single vote. And for those that want to see changes, one way or the other, you can come and it's kind of your responsibility. The school system, the town, the roads, as a voting members of the town, we should have strong turnout. We should have people who are advocating for, against, however they want to feel. They have to feel some way. And you need the votes to do anything that you want to do. So for those that are supportive of the school, I hope they show up. For those that want to see changes, I hope they show up too. So it's a fun process. It seems to never end, but it's coming to a close soon. So thank you. The town meeting is Monday, May 4th at 7 p.m. at Quaker. So move on to board committee. Actually, we have no students to give updates. So we'll move on to board committee reports. I'll start with facilities. So as some of IT's been very busy, the network rollout, a lot of time and effort rolling out the new firewall, access point, the wireless AP7s throughout the district. I don't know if there's a date specific for when they're going to complete, but they also have to be respectful of all the testing that's happening. So they're doing their job, but the goal is to not disrupt any of the testing. Very excited to hear that the outdoor speakers were completed. I know that was in process the last time we met. We've discussed some RFPs that I think is going back to the facilities to discuss further about indoor air quality testing and HVAC assessments as the state requests. And you know, we've done a lot of testing at Quaker, but we're looking at the cost to do more testing and to make sure that we are on the right side of state mandates for just the district. That, you know, very happy to see that the fire panel is complete. That was a lot of work, and I believe they came in under budget for what we were trying to accomplish. The ERV installation is going along very well at Quaker Farm School, and I think they're gonna have AC this spring. So that's a surprising, you know, positive outcome for pushing that we have. In athletics, the fields are in good shape. They've done their maintenance. I think there's still some floor issues at both GOES and at the high school that they're working on, and I don't think they're resolved yet, but they're at least being investigated and worked on. Moving on to curriculum.
We met on April 20th. We talked about summer work with our students and staff, OHS, and the reading. They will actually have hard copy math program. AP will continue as always their usual summer work. And June, there'll be a meeting with the EMT instructor. As of that meeting, we had 10 students who have filled out the application for the EMT program. For the middle school, we have IXL, the ELA, they're going to use the OHS model for students reading, just reading. We seem to have an issue with reading stamina. That's one of the things that they're gonna work on in both schools. The math, we're gonna use the IXL summer program. The K5 is going to work on the governor's reading program. And we're gonna work with the library to see if they can get them to set a section for our students, so they have a list they can know. Also for summer curriculum writing, OHS is doing full rewrites on global studies. I had SS next to it, so. Health grade 9 would be a rewrite, and then the courses that we recently approve that curriculum will be worked on. At the middle school, grade 7 science, grade 6 CLA, 6, health. The middle school with the STEM, they're going to kind of look at that program and try and, change some of the stuff with that. K-5, social studies align with the new science and math, and depending on what happens with the new tutor. We also hit on some issues with communication, that the district's going to work on Parent Square, which will also help with our website. And all of that will continue to flow along, and we will, hopefully be able to get a communications person or someone to work on that program. And our next meeting will be in May.
Full policy?
Yep, so we had our April meeting and we took the template that you guys just approved for the bylaws and we applied it to policy, facilities, and finance. I sent a draft of those bylaws to you, Mike, since you're the chair for both those committees, finance and facilities, so that you can put your 2 cents in or go over them with your committee to see if you want to change any of the wording before it comes back to us for the first read. Okay.
Finance, reviewed it, and, I think we're funneling the feedback through Karen.
Okay.
But then when facility meets, we'll make sure it's included on the agenda.
Great, and our next meeting is on May 7th, 5:45, it's a virtual meeting. If you have nothing to do, come on in and join us.
Okay, finance, so we've done enough talking on finance. Except I think we have a motion, no, it's not here. Do we have a
Oh,
motion?
yeah, motion to approve the transfers as presented.
Do we have a second? Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. And, the next finance meeting is not scheduled just yet. We want, once the budget is finalized and we know the final number that we're working with, we'll set a meeting at that point to discuss next steps. So, the school business partnership, as we removed the bylaw, it's now a part of the curriculum subcommittee. So no updates there, and liaison report. So do we have anyone for PTO?
I went to PTO on Thursday. They did administrative assistant appreciation that week. Teacher appreciation is coming up in May 4th. Today they did bus driver appreciation, which I thought was pretty cool. They're currently doing the book fair. They have, books and bites coming up. They're also doing the Yard Goats, baseball game, so if anybody's interested in wants to attend. And then there's an evening at Quasi on May 22nd, which they're basically renting out the entire place, and you just come in and pay the fee and come in and spend the day at Quasi, the night at Quasi. And I would have to second Dr. Marino, the amount of end of year things that the PTO approved was phenomenal. Field trips, field days, just activities was great, and their board is up for election at the next meeting, so if there's anyone that is interested in wanting to be part of the board, you should get in touch with them.
We have a booster club update.
Everybody.
Actually, the update's supposed to come from board members.
Okay.
Sorry, Lisa.
Yeah, totally wrong. Cause I have not been at the last meeting, but we do have all the end of the year, activities coming up. All the senior events basically is what we're doing, right?
I can't hear you.
The senior events are pretty much all we're planning right now.
Pretty much that's it.
Okay, audience of citizens. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? All those in favor? Opposed, abstained? We need a second.
Yeah, you do need a second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, meeting is